Alright, I've never recorded a YouTube video in my fucking life where I did any kind of commentary, but just with everything that's going on right now, and I don't know. I just felt like doing it. Well, let's start off with this. The Austin comedy scene is quietly collapsing.
Word around you for the first time.
Right here.
Yeah.
Right here we
I
got
like that.
we got Bobby Lee. He's going to be one of your evidence. He's going to be your evidence for the Austin comedy scene dying. He doesn't like it when
Really?
Uh-huh.
It's like edgelord use these words.
And I
So he's got a problem with words in a country where you're allowed to speak freely, but he's going to go to Saudi Arabia to collect blood money. This is your beacon of this is what makes me correct.
agree with that.
Austin in or so they was whereas the Austin comedy scene's reputation has taken a hit so bad that honestly it feels like it's been rug pulled past the point of no return.
Okay, you say that it's taken a hit so bad that it's at the point of no return, but you give no evidence. Like, what are you talking about?
And now it's almost trendy to recognize that that style of comedy there is
Who gives a shit about trendy?
in fact hack. Mark Maron, Dan Soder,
You say it's in fact hack. Who are you?
Anthony Jeselnik,
You think it's hacky?
and even Bobby Lee, as you saw in the opening clip there, have all spoken publicly about how the comedy in Austin is a disgrace, which I'm sure you're aware of by
It's a disgrace. Where you're like, can you give examples? This shit is so hard to follow. It's so vague.
now, as those clips have been circling all corners of the internet. So what I wanted to cover in this video today are first-hand stories from the green room of the mothership.
So you got a fucking like, if they're so allegedly racist, why do you have a black guy? And I'm pretty sure that guy's Arab.
Cover in this video today are first-hand stories from the green room of the mothership that smaller comedians and internet figures have in comedy scene but had such a bad experience that they had to speak out about it. For example, this smaller comedian named Mark Pugh moved to Austin a while back in hopes of growing his name, but just recently moved away because the other comics
So he went to Austin to increase his notoriety, fame, or get more gigs or whatever, and then, like, did he make it? You don't cover whether or not he made it.
a while back in hopes of growing his name, but just recently moved away because the other comics there wouldn't stop bringing up his race whenever
This clown is wearing a fucking cowboy hat inside.
they were around him.
I personally don't want to be the only black person around a bunch of white people, and the only thing y'all saying to me is some shit about how I'm black.
I don't know if this. I mean, I don't know if this guy's ever been part of a brotherhood or any kind of shit where, like, this is. It's so. Like, join the fucking military, bro. Real friends can make those kind of fucking jokes and nobody gets pissed off about it. Because it's not about that.
I dead ass don't want to be around that shit. Because when I'm around, if I'm around the only white person, I'm not gonna be like, hey, you white. That's some white people shit. I don't do that in conversation.
Who gives a shit if you don't do that? These are other people. They're not you. Not everybody needs to act in a way that you think everybody's supposed to act. Like, right, like I just criticized your dumbass for wearing a cowboy hat inside. Like, why?
We might do that shit on stage, maybe. But even then, bro, let's have better shit to say on stage.
What's an example of better shit?
There's a lot of people that don't know when to stop trying to be a clown, trying to out funny each
They're fucking comedians.
other, and don't none of it be funny. I don't want to.
Don't none of it be funny. You don't find it funny, maybe, but you're not the arbiter of comedy.
I don't want to hear 50 white guys come up to me and almost say the N-word. It's like 50 white people come to you and say, "What's up, my ninja?" I don't want to hear that shit.
Who cares?
Just almost saying the N-word or trying to say it.
Who gives a shit if they do or don't? It's so weird, dude. You're so weird about this word.
Let's talk about something else.
And honestly, this clip tells you just about everything you need to know about the so-called comedy mecca in
That shows us everything we need to know. No, it doesn't. Like, you want some of us normies to confide in an individual who gives vague reasons for not wanting to be there, is hung up on the N-word for some fucking reason, and like that's all we need right there? No, it isn't. Like, what happened that was so bad? There are a ton of things that are bad that can happen to you that would give you a reason to leave. This is the problem with liars. They're always so vague. They're always so vague. Details elude them immensely. If I have an issue with someone, I can articulate exactly what it is or what they have done that I didn't like. This just sounds like somebody who couldn't fucking, to me, this is what it sounds like. It sounds like somebody couldn't fucking hack it, and they knew they would never hack it. Again, the arbiter of the truth is some fucking jackass whining, wearing a cowboy hat inside. I find that strange. Personally, I find that strange. I believe, and I'll just give examples. I believe if you're going to try to do blood culture or crip culture or military culture or any one of these doctrines or schools or whatever they are, they have rules, regulations, like they have all these, they have like a doctrine of what you should learn in order to become a part of it. And I'm pretty sure anybody who's a wrangler of cows, who works a country life, knows to take your fucking hat off when you go inside. I know a military guy that sometimes they gotta fight the urge not to take their fucking hat off. Even a baseball cap, which is genuinely considered, like, I guess, like it's genuine. Fuck, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's not often considered rude to wear a fucking a hat inside, or a baseball cap inside. It's just weird, dude. It's like this guy's the arbiter of truth when he's a fucking poser.
Austin, a brand new comic moves there chasing the dream, only to end up leaving because every conversation with other comics boiled down to, "Hey bro, you're black."
Every conversation with every other like, there's a legit Mexican guy on fucking screen right now. I guess he just wow, man, like he's just a fucking he's just the equivalent of an Uncle Tom. Oh, there's also 2 other black guys up there.
Haha, get it? Like, it is the absolute cheapest, laziest way to get a laugh.
It's the cheapest, laziest way to get a laugh. I mean, sure, but like, where are the examples? The guy, like, where are the examples, dude? Fucking A, this shit is so vague.
And the fact that it happened enough times for this guy to finally move cities just speaks volumes.
The fact that it happened so much he had to move cities. No. It's all vague bullshit. Well, I'm not saying that nothing happened to him, but I don't fucking trust him.
To why Austin comedy is seeing a decline recently.
Austin comedy has seen a decline. What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure Tony just, like... What do you mean by recently? Like, which date are you talking about? I could have swore Tony did, like, the roast of fucking Tom Brady, and it completely exploded. In addition, like, they have a Netflix deal, or they have some kind of deal going on. There's just no way to say that it's not good comedy over there when, like, where's your evidence? You're just... It's, like, so much hearsay. It's fucking crazy.
Like, the mothership is an echo chamber where the only thing comedians know how to do is tiptoe around slurs. Because in Austin...
The only thing they know how to do is tiptoe around slurs. The entirety of the hour-long show that's shown every Monday is just a bunch of racists tiptoeing around slurs. Chill the fuck out, dude.
Offensive equal funny, I guess. No wonder the whole scene already feels like it's...
Offensive can be funny. All kinds of things can be funny. Again, I brought up brought up the military, for example, or even like a construction job. Like, get the fuck out of your house and do something actually difficult and sweat with some fucking men who do men jobs. We're gonna crack jokes. My buddy Kenny, he is Vietnamese. And he would page me over an intercom. White man, come help us. White man, this is where we at. Oh God, I can't believe they called me white man. I'm fucking white. Get over it. And was I ever pissed at him? I cannot even explain to you the brotherhood that I wish I would have had growing up with the Vietnamese community and other communities that I've been a part of, where this fucking soy weird shit, I didn't have to deal with it. Fucking thank God I didn't have to. Oh man, I'm so jealous of people that like you could just be real with, and that they don't take everything so fucking seriously. Pathetic. That's what I think.
collapsing under its own hype. Another thing
Collapsing under its own hype. Where's your evidence? What the fuck are you talking about?
that points to the mothership's downfall is that the biggest names there, like Joe Rogan, Tony Hinchcliffe, and even Shane Gillis, are some of the most sensitive comedians imaginable, which is sort of ironic. Like a huge part of their jobs revolve
They're the most sensitive comedians imaginable. Okay, I can't wait to see your fucking evidence.
around roasting, but as soon as someone says something that they don't like, they get all butthurt about it and kick them out of the club. So much so that Joe Rogan has his ex-Navy SEAL bodyguards lock up your cell phone before entering the club. I mean, Joe Rogan's so
What the fuck does that have to do? What the fuck? Like, it's Joe Rogan's club. It's his... It's his place. He's the boss. I don't know where this came from, and I'll use personal experience. I used to work for an owner of a bar. He is a gay man. And this guy showed me... I think I heard somebody at one point say, it might have been Asmongold, that like gay men cannot be masculine. I beg to differ. I mean, I love Asmongold, he's great, but sometimes, you know, life experience does have a way of teaching you things. Well, this guy runs a nightclub, and one day, a man tried to enter through the ID check, and he didn't want to pay the dollar cover. And I never knew why the owner of this club wanted people to pay $1 until this night. You know, like, to me, again, ignorance. We all have it to some degree. Ignorance would say, yeah, it is kind of silly. Well, this man claiming to be the bar owner's friend tries to get past the front guard. So we have to stop this guy. So the front guy stops him, I stop him, and then somebody yells down for the bar owner because this guy's trying to get through, and he's the bar owner's friend, so we don't want to do anything, you know, like too bad to him, but he's fucking belligerent. The bar owner comes up, and he handles business, and he didn't handle business, he handled business in the best way he felt like handling the business, and it was eye-opening for me because I'm just thinking to myself, man, I'm going to have to hear an explanation of why what had just happened. And so I asked. The question is like, so, you know, how do you want us to deal with this kind of stuff in the future? And then he says he charges a $1 cover because it sifts out some of the people who, like, I guess the psychology of you not even wanting to pay $1 to get through the front door kind of keeps out a little bit of the crazies. I've seen this to a more extreme extent in a whole nother story. But then he also mentioned that on top of it filtering out individuals who, I guess, like have a broke boy mindset, because it's $1, any friend who tries to enter another friend's business establishment and they claim to be your friend, but they don't want to give give the front door $1. Like, are they really your friend? And maybe I'm crazy, but that taught me the lesson of if I ever go in any place, I'm genuinely there to support the individual hosting the show. And going in there and making trouble, I'm not their if I go in there and make trouble, I'm not their friend. Not following Joe's rules shows just it's like narcissistic almost. It's me, 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 me. Well, you didn't make that place. It's not yours.
Paranoid about this that he even kicked out Andrew Callaghan from.
Why is it paranoid? If Joe doesn't want this guy there, then he has every right to remove him for any fucking reason. It's his fucking place.
The green room.
No, he didn't let me in. Who gives a shit? If you're not fucking invited, work to gain their trust, or get the fuck out. This whole trying to shortcut around and gain people's trust immediately, like, earn your patch, motherfucker. Jesus Christ.
On accident, just because someone mentioned that Andrew was a journalist, which is a.
Just because someone mentioned that Andrew was a journalist. This is so like. Is that really what happened? Do you know? Yeah, you don't even care. I think that's the crux of a lot of this crap. Is a lot of you guys don't care. You just want. You don't want to earn.
Really broad definition and doesn't really do Andrew Callaghan's channel justice.
Boy, he didn't explain him properly. Who gives a shit? Callaghan, Channel 5 didn't earn his fucking trust. He didn't earn the ability to be among those individuals. They set the bar. They set the standards. They set the rules. It's their place. Just because he was removed doesn't mean anything.
Joe Rogan even knew who Callaghan was, but
he even knew who he was. Yeah, like, on a surface level, maybe. Who knows? But if Joe doesn't want you there, I think Joe has earned the right to remove you. Had it been me and I was removed from the room, I think I would have immediately asked, hey, I totally understand. It's your place of business. You know, he calls the shots. Is there any recommendations that you guys could give me in order for me to, like, gain your trust? Is there anything I can do? You guys didn't even ask. Like, I don't know if that was exchanged or not, but yeah. What kind of God, I heard this recently about the big issue, and I can only speak on men, is that men don't go through any kind of ritual anymore that shows them, like, there's no struggle for them to go through anymore that allows them to become part of the pack. Like, I just don't get it. Like, who gives a fuck what? If Joe doesn't want him there, he doesn't need to be there. If he's not going to figure out a way to get into the green room in terms of, like, what he can do to endear himself to Joe, then remove him. If Joe even suspects, like, in the slightest, that Callahan could be an issue, even if he doesn't, he can remove him. This is a non-story. Just get, like, when you're asked to leave, get the fuck out. I know that's what he did, but even still, like, this doesn't mean anything. The only thing that's telling is that you guys are bitching that Joe removed somebody. He doesn't want him there. Get the fuck out.
Even looking his way, he had his royal bodyguards escort the guy out of the green room.
His royal bodyguards. Shut the fuck up, dude.
Out of fear that he'd tape what was going down there.
Why haven't you been on the Joe Rogan Experience? Well, there could be two reasons for that. One, which is probably most likely, is that I'm not popular, famous, and influential enough to.
Not popular, famous, or influential enough to be on the Joe Rogan podcast. Okay, dude.
Be on JRE. Two, could be related to a little green room spat that I had with Mr. Joe Rogan at his comedy club in Austin, Texas. So I'm not even a Joe Rogan hater, and I thought the mothership was actually pretty tight, especially how they lock your phones up in these magnetically sealed plastic sleeves when you enter the door. It definitely brings the anxiety levels down and makes it so comedians can push the envelope a bit more with their material, so it keeps comedy and experimentation alive without the fear of cancel culture. I was in Austin.
How do you know this? There could be many reasons why they want you to lock up your phone. Well, I'm sure that's one of them. Now, maybe this is just my, like, weird, what do they call it? Hypervigilance or whatever, fucking pinging. But this seems, I don't know. It just seems there's something inside my gut that makes me feel weird about this.
Doing a couple different podcasts. The first podcast was Lex Friedman, and then the following day after that, I did the Matt and Shane Secret podcast. And unfortunately, Matt was out of town, but the homie Lemaire Lee, shout out to my boy, was there replacing Matt for that day. So that night after the podcast, Shane had a set at the Mothership Comedy Club. So he invited me, and in between sets, I'm chilling at the bar downstairs, and I'm getting like lightweight blown up by fans, which is fine. You know, I love fans. It was chill, but I was kind of like in a more relaxed headspace. I wanted to just doze off, you know, listen to comedy, chill. And so I told Lemaire, I'm like, yo, can I go upstairs to the green room? I'm trying to, you know, kick back and, you know, lay low.
Okay, so he's asking Lemaire. It's not Lemaire's green room. Again, with my experience when it comes to parties, we used to be extremely peace and love style. Well, not me, not so much me. Well, a little bit me. It depends on how drunk I am. But like, from personal experience, we used to have massive parties. And every time we'd have these parties, there'd be somebody who was, let's say, not the host, who was trying to take credit, I guess, or be the cool guy and invite more people. Sometimes, when we weren't paying attention, things got really different. And it was not the individuals that we invited anymore. Completely different kind of space for people. As much as some of you guys believe that you should just have your fucking fences open for everyone to come in, some people may come in that aren't necessarily there for the same reason as you guys. If the theme of the fucking party is like peace and love and hippie shit, and then some fucking guy comes in and he wants to treat your space like an MMA ring, that's like, the MMA exists. People aren't at this party to fight. You're not here to, again, go on your male journey of trials and tribulations, or your great and terrible journey. This isn't the space for it. So regardless of what Lamar says, or anyone else for that matter, he doesn't have the rank. He doesn't have the privilege of inviting people in there. Or maybe he does. But then when somebody removes you, there's no reason to be upset about it. You can only be honestly upset with yourself. You didn't obtain that power. I see it as getting a loan. If you don't have like the ability to get the loan and they say no to you, they're not going to lend you money because they don't trust you. Well, figure out how to gain their trust. You could just call everybody unfair, but it's legitimately unfair for you to try to force your liberty over somebody else's. It's his fucking room.
For a bit. He's like, man, I can take you there, but just so you know, Joe Rogan's a bit territorial about that.
Joe Rogan's a bit territorial. It's not that he's territorial. I mean, maybe he is or whatever. You guys can use whatever word you want, but he has standards. It's his place. He's the general.
That green room, like, so it's at your own risk. And I'm like, dude, no way, it's gonna be fine. Joe Rogan's reacted to like 7 of my videos because Jamie always plays them, so I'm like,
that doesn't matter. It's still the green room. It's completely different. Reacting, like, the internet is not the real fucking world. The real world has real consequences.
It's gonna be chill. So me and Lemaire take the elevator.
It's gonna be chill. How do you know that? You're not Joe.
Up to the secret green room at the Mothership. There's 5 comedians in there.
Secret green room. I don't know about a secret green room. I'd say a sanctuary.
All in their mid-20s. Everybody recognizes me except for Joe Rogan. So everybody's dapping me up. Lemaire says, hey, Joe, it's my homie Andrew. Shake Joe Rogan's hand. I put some popcorn in the microwave, which I felt like was establishing myself as a member of the green room.
You can't establish yourself as a member of the green room. Joe establishes you as a member of the green room. Earn your patch. This is not difficult, unless you're spoiled or stupid.
And then I turn around and I see Joe Rogan like yelling at the security guard. And he's yelling, who let this fucking journalist in here? Kick him the fuck out.
You are a journalist. Who let him in there? Again, Lamar completely overstepped his fucking... Like, he overstepped... Well, I mean, he warned him, to be fair. But, again, like, this is on you and Lamar. Like, you guys overstepped You're, I don't know, man. You overstepped.
I can hear Joe saying this. I guess somebody told him that I was like a journalist, so he maybe thought that I was a daily.
Why did you allow somebody else? He's the host of the fucking party. He is like he's the overlord of this space. And you didn't go up and introduce yourself or anything. They need to teach, like, military service should almost be like a requirement or some kind of class. Another thing is like a manners class.
Beast reporter that had snaked my way into his safe.
For me to elaborate, again, I'll use what little experience I have as a jackass. But a long time ago, I had learned from my father, and then even from a friend of mine, that when we go to a party, we never show up to a party empty-handed. Now, I thought growing up, and when I got older, even with the bar owner situation, I kind of thought that this was like common knowledge. I thought everybody would show up to a party, and the way I was taught was specifically males, is you never showed up to a party empty-handed. You always brought something, be it a gift, etc. Now, thankfully, this is not a common practice, which gave me a massive edge over everybody else who's just so self-absorbed that me doing even the most minor things to show reverence to my host, because they built something, you know, and I'm at that something. They don't owe me anything, not really. And just going into a party and not introducing yourself to the host, especially as a new element to a pack, it's fucking insane. I find it extremely rude.
Space to ask him about ivermectin, which is a valid concern. So before I could even get kicked out, I was like, Lemaire, I gotta get out of here. And I walked down the stairs and went back into general population.
So when you hear a story like this, it doesn't really feel like a healthy comedy scene.
It feels healthy to me. It feels unhealthy that you, and even Andrew, don't grasp etiquette. You don't grasp etiquette at all. You've been untrained. If you go into a space untrained on etiquette, someone is going to humble you.
It feels insecure, culty, and way too...
It doesn't feel insecure or culty at all. It feels like a brotherhood or a membership. These guys are comedians, and he's a journalist. He didn't earn his patch. And maybe you don't grasp that, and maybe Callahan doesn't grasp that. I think if it was explained to him, perhaps he'd be receptive. But I'm just going to assume that you guys have never had to do anything extremely difficult in your life to become something that you didn't really like earn. At least in this aspect.
fragile. Like Andrew wasn't even trying to start anything.
It doesn't matter if he's trying to start anything. That doesn't matter. What Joe says goes, period. Even if it wasn't Joe, if it was anyone else. Sometimes you get to a party and somebody says no. Figure out a way to appease the host or gain entry, like through figure out a way to establish trust. You don't just get trust. You motherfuckers who think that are out of your mind.
He was just there as a guest, laying low and eating some popcorn. But Rogan...
He's there as a guest, laying low, eating some popcorn. Chill out, dude.
Immediately had a panic attack as if Andrew was some undercover team.
He didn't immediately have a panic attack. There was probably a rule that was set up, and Lamar broke it, so Joe had to reestablish order. The real world exists, dude. Not everybody lives in fucking La La Land.
Z reporter trying to expose him. That's where...
It could have been. I would have felt that way. Especially if he was lying low and sneaking around and just getting popcorn. I've had people lying low and sneaking around and just get stuff as well. Stuff that I paid for. A party that I hosted.
the scene is at now. The comedy club is like a gated...
Some of those motherfuckers left with a lot more than what they came in with nothing. And they left with a whole lot more.
community
This is why we have the same rules that Joe has.
where Joe Rogan is the landlord and everyone else is just trying to not get evicted. The environment is way too fragile, and as a result, it's...
The environment is not fragile. It's Joe is the fucking boss of the place. Anything that goes wrong is on him. Anything, like, it's not just the host's duty to throw parties willy-nilly. He's also responsible for anything bad that happens there. Like, there's so many things that he's responsible for. Monetarily, he's invested. Well, like, he's also responsible for some other people in there. Like, I think Ari Shaffir has a tendency to show his penis sometimes. Like, I mean, I've, you know, and like, he's responsible for everything. It's a massive responsibility. And that you just get to fucking stand on the sidelines and critique somebody who has rules and standards? That's crazy.
Reputation
You, like, I firmly believe you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
has taken a real beating as of late, and
A real beating. Vague. It seems to me like they're doing very, very well.
trust me,
But, I mean, I guess I'm being vague, too. But, I don't know. I guess I could waste time and look into their financials. But, it's like, he's managed to get people moving from fucking California to go there. Kill Tony has like 300 people signing up. I don't even know what the tickets are for Kill Tony. All this information you can look up, but you're just fucking, like, it just feels like, again, it's hearsay. Like, there's legitimately a legal technique or definition for this shit. And hearsay doesn't fly.
they know exactly what kind of image they're portraying with all the right-wing buzzword jokes and all the anti-woke talking points, especially Shane Gillis. Like just the other day, apparently Shane Gillis was on stage with Joe Rogan.
What's wrong with right-wing jokes and anti-woke jokes? That's who they are. It's their space. They don't have to fucking believe the same thing you do.
Doing like a duo stand-up comedy sort of thing, and as soon as Joe Rogan started saying his trans jokes, apparently Shane's
And he two-man with Joe Rogan. Joe was doing a trans joke, shocker, and Shane was like, I'm not sure what's funny about that. And Joe doubled down. Shane repeated, he's not sure what's funny about that.
stopped him and was like, "What's so funny about that?" Which made Joe Rogan repeat the joke, making Shane ask him what's so funny about it again, which would have been just amazing to witness in real life.
It would have just been so amazing to witness in real life.
So Shane Gillis, who's by far the biggest regular at the mothership, really stood up to Lord Joe Rogan while on...
Shane Gillis is by far the biggest... what? Dude, again with the fucking bullshit. Doesn't, like... What do you... Like, what is the bar for the biggest? What are you talking about? I think Joe... Doesn't Joe hang out with Dave Chappelle? Isn't he bigger? Doesn't Joe hang out with Burt Kreischer? Love him or hate him, I'm pretty sure he's pretty fucking massive. Just because you are perhaps more tuned in with a comic doesn't mean that, like, I just don't, like, what is your bar for the biggest? Like, Shane is fucking crushing it, and in the comics world, he is massive, yes. But again, it's the vagueness. I have no fucking clue. The lack of details is insane.
stage, which kind of points
To be fair, it could be a lack of detail on me as well. You know, fuck me. But I don't mind looking into it.
to how conscious he is of...
If this video gets even more than like fucking 100 views, I might look into it. If I get 100k views on a random fucking video, I will meticulously go through this shit just to see if what you're saying is on point. Right now, like, again, my bullshit meter is just fucking huge.
the Austin comedy image and is trying to put out the flames for the sake of his reputation as well. So I commend Shane for doing stuff.
Put out the fucking flames of his reputation. Shane Gillis is a beer drinking fucking, like, sports playing tall chubby guy. Like, what flames does he need to put out when he's talking to his base?
Like that, and turning down the Saudi Arabian Blood Money Festival. But don't get me wrong, Shane's not entirely innocent in this whole Austin comedy disgrace here, okay?
Shane's not entirely innocent in this Austin comedy disgrace, yet you specifically used a clip of a comedian who's taking blood money and supporting a country that still has like 20,000 slaves that actively kill people for free speech, which is one of the bastions that stops, like, how can Saudi Arabia hold a comic festival? I don't know, this is just me spitballing, but how can they hold a comic festival and then they don't supply one of their own comics? Freedom of speech there, you don't have it. We're one of the few countries that has freedom of speech. Now, don't get me wrong, like, there's legitimately a thing called fighting words, and then assault, and I see people get this wrong all the time. Assault is the threat of violence, and battery that's what happens when you use the violence. But again, like, what did Shane do? He's not completely innocent. He's a completely innocent guy, along with Joe.
Okay? Like, sure, he's by far funnier than names like Rogan and Hinchcliffe and David
That's subjective.
Lucas, but at the end of the day, he lives there full time. He performs there weekly, and he's buddy-buddy with the hackmen in the green room after their performances. And
He's buddy-buddy with the hackmen? What the fuck does that mean?
so a lot of people online speculate that behind the scenes, he is no different than the guys he hangs out with. And recently, a guy named Brian McCarthy kind of confirmed this on his podcast, as, according to him, he actually got into a little verbal argument with Shane Gillis backstage at the mothership. And so, to preface this story, just know that McCarthy and Shane had a minor beef about 6 years ago, and McCarthy thought it wasn't even major enough for Shane to remember it. So, before heading into the mothership,
Who gives a shit what McCarthy thinks? I think there was a recent video of, God, he's a famous black guy. He's like a heartthrob now. And he was speaking with a reporter, a lady, and this lady used to call him corny. And she thought he might have forgot. I got news for you, fuckers. The people who fuck with us, who bully some of us, it may seem small to you, but we don't fucking forget.
green room and seeing Shane for the first time since then, McCarthy was actually asking Shane's friends if he'd even remember something that small.
Why is he asking his friends? Why doesn't he just go talk to Shane? Bitch made.
And according to Shane's friends, he's got a bit of a reputation among comics in Austin for being super thin-skinned and kind of dramatic whenever he's dealing with other stand-up comedians. Also, obviously,
He has super thin skin and he can't handle... Maybe I'm misquoting, but hold on. So you say this, but like, where's your evidence? I've seen him surgically take down other comedians before. I'd say Shane has, from what I've seen, pretty thick skin.
take this guy's story with a grain of salt.
So my point is that when I was talking to this person, I said, I know Shane lives down there, and I know that he's friends with Kurt. Now, I wasn't like nervous about seeing Shane or any of that. I don't give a fuck. But the person asked me. I said, I wonder if I run into this guy. I wonder if he's even going to remember.
Why don't you just go right up to him and take care of it immediately? You can't, because again, with the sneaky shit, you guys don't have any etiquette. If you have an issue with a guy with another man. Well, Shane, you're probably talking out of your ass. Okay, here's another fucking story. Again, this is why experience is kind of enjoyable to have. I had a tendency to have bottle service. Some people would call it VIP. And you'd get treated a little bit better. Like, you didn't have to go to the bar or whatever. Sometimes they would just come to you. Well, I invited a guy up one time and into the VIP. And we were having a good time, and I thought he was a cool guy. I heard about him, etc. Well, there's a possibility I could have cracked a fucking joke, and maybe he didn't like it. Well, he came around the corner. I mean, he enjoyed drinking my fucking liquor, that's for sure. And instead of like having a sidebar with me or talking to me at all, he just sucker punched me in the fucking face. Now, I wasn't pissed about it because, like, I had people to take care of the issue, and he got fucking like they rounded him up and they asked me if I want to press charges, and I said no, it's not a big deal. That guy was massive and he punched me fucking what felt like as hard as he could. It didn't knock me out, so we're all good. Cut to a couple of months later, the guy's at a party, and I don't have bottle service, so I'm not drawing too much attention to myself, but I am there, I am dancing, I'm enjoying myself, and I see him, and somebody brought him up to me, and like he had to have known I was already there because my name was a little bit, a small area well known, I guess. Anyways, so instead of just letting it sit, I just walked over there and put my arm around him. I was like, hey, man, you remember me? And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm super sorry about what happened. I was going through things with my girlfriend. I was like, dude, it's really not a big deal. We all go through shit, and, maybe I was rude or whatever. I'm not even sure what I said, but, if you're not still mad at me or if you don't still hate me, man, like, I'd like to be friends with you, It's a party atmosphere. Sometimes you do something stupid, and I'm just glad you didn't knock me out. And then we became friends. Like, this whole, again, bitch made shit. It's weird.
And this person who is pretty tied into this group of people, this person said, yeah, Shane is, and Shane, this is the reputation you have. They said he is very thin-skinned. And
well, who gives a shit what they have to say? You won't even tell us who it was.
Would almost guarantee that he will remember this.
Yeah, if somebody starts shit with you, you're generally going to remember. But not only do you remember, you also remember how they handle it. If this guy started shit with Shane and he didn't apologize for it, and Shane believes that he needs an apology, I've watched images of Ice Show Speed, who's a much younger man than myself, and people have done rude stuff to him, and he goes up and he really needs the sorry. Some of us just need the apology. And if you've wronged someone and you're not going to go up to them and apologize for it, you get what you fucking deserve.
This is where things get real juicy, because according to McCarthy, Shane confronted him with Tony Hinchcliffe about this tiny little thing that happened 6
Tiny little thing. Tiny little thing to you guys, if it fits your fucking narrative. Maybe it wasn't tiny to Shane. It sounds to me like that guy started it and then didn't go up to Shane and even apologize. And then Shane fucking, they regulated. Again, some of you soft motherfuckers, dude, you just, unless it, it's just, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. It's soft little thing, says you. It must have been big enough to get Tony on board.
years ago, making a huge scene about it in front of everyone at
Making a huge scene about it. Who gives a fuck?
Mitzi's bar, which is a bar in the comedy mothership. And of course, Shane had every right to confront him about this, but being that this beef was so tiny and 6 years old...
So tiny and 6 years old, bro. I'm sure something has fucking happened to your ass, and maybe you wanted to do something about it. Maybe you never had the fucking balls to do something about it. So you have no idea, I don't get it, dude. I don't get it. There had to have been somebody in your life that's done something to you that you confronted them on. Imagine how fucking annoying it would be for them to just try to tell you it's not that big of a deal and it doesn't matter. Maybe it mattered a lot to you. I don't know. Maybe you've never been outside and got your fucking feelings hurt, but sometimes it doesn't feel that good.
It's just sort of funny that Shane would hold on to something like
It's just sort of funny. No, it's not.
this, especially after having this huge career since then.
Yeah, the huge career. Yeah. So his huge career just gets to, it just gets to completely undercut somebody fucking with you. Again, what is his fucking name? The black guy. And the fucking chick who called him corny. He's got a massive career now. He's a heartthrob. There's probably not a woman in the world that he couldn't get. Unless, we're married. You get it. But he fucking remembered. 6-pack abs. Giant arms. Superstar. Super white teeth. And he never forgot. You undercutting this is just so... It's clueless, dude. Some people never forget. And whether or not that's right or wrong, that's totally between those two guys.
But to be fair, I also think it's pretty cowardly of Brian McCarthy to air something private like this out to the public, but it sure
It is cowardly.
does make for some good content.
It's cowardly. Not only did he air it, but when he went into a space that, as you've mentioned, Shane fucking lives there. He's going into this man's space knowing that he has done something to offend him or bother him or hurt him. And he didn't immediately go up and talk, he didn't immediately go up, lock eyes with this individual. Instead, he did this fucking let's talk to the friends shit. Like, oh my God. I'll give you another story. Growing up, a lot of us who were being pussies and we knew we were being pussies, if we liked a girl, sometimes we'd say, oh, I saw her first, you know, or, oh, I'll talk to her friends and try to, like, you know, gauge whether or not she likes me because I don't want to deal with rejection. I don't want to deal with, I don't want to deal with the horror. I didn't go, I did that, and then eventually it took somebody to tell me, and thank God for this guy. Elliot Holst is his name. I don't know what he's up to, but he helped me a lot when I was really young. But he said, just do the fucking thing. There's somebody you've been meaning to talk to, that you've been putting it off, and you've been pussyfooting around it. Just stop doing it. Embrace the suck. Throw yourself off a cliff, metaphorically speaking, and just go ask her out. And I did that. I looked her dead in the eyes. I asked her out. I was sweating. I was scared. She rejected me. But man, was I proud of myself. It's not an easy thing to do. And if you're not willing to do it, then you, if you're not willing to go through the fire and the flames, then you don't deserve the spoils. What he did was cowardice in multiple levels, I think. If it had been me and I had an issue, I already talked to a guy who fucking punched. He punched me so hard, my body twisted and my glasses went flying.
So,
and that's just what I mean, shit happens. And even with that, I went up and talked it out with him to see what was going on with him.
So I go into the Mitzi Bar thing. I go on with Kurt. I see Joe. I said, hey, you know, I kind of like pretended like I watched The Hour.
Right.
So great, fine. So I'm talking to
Kind of like pretended that you watched The Hour. What the fuck?
Joe, and then Shane.
So I kind of pretended that I watched The Hour. So I kind of sort of lied while I was there. And lying is kind of sort of lying is a part of who I am. I don't have the ability to be fully truthful when in interactions, but I deserve respect.
Comes in, okay? Shane's about 6'3", maybe something like that, 6'4", maybe. Big guy, little mustache, but big guy, and kind of comes in, goes.
Big guy, little mustache. To you.
Right over to Joe, says to Joe, hey, and he gives him kind of a hug. I mean, they're clearly good friends. And then Joe says to Shane,
they're clearly good friends. Not all good friends hug. I used to hug acquaintances all the time. A lot of you guys need to have 3 separate bars instead of making everything so, again, vague or just not. Like, you have acquaintances, you have friends, and then you have confidants. Just because somebody's friends doesn't mean they're a confidant. And just because somebody might be friends doesn't mean they're not an acquaintance. Sometimes I was really good friends with people in certain aspects. But that was we aligned in a business sense, or we aligned in a style sense, or we aligned to make each other look better, but we didn't know the first fucking thing about one another. They'd go to hell and high water for me in that specific space. But are they helping me move a couch? No.
Shane, I want to introduce you to Brian.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good friend of mine from New York. And
Right.
Shane immediately goes, I know who you are. You said a bunch of shit about me on your show, and then you tweeted it.
Yeah, because this guy's a coward.
So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this.
Yeah,
So
pretty confrontational.
So I said to Shane, I said, well, not really. I said a bunch of shit about you, but I never tweeted it. I don't.
So fucking dumb, dude. Why couldn't you just apologize? Hey, man, I'm sorry if I
don't
hurt-
really.
Hey, man, I probably shouldn't have done that. You know, let me know why, but it's just...
tweet. I said, but I did say a bunch of shit about you. So Shane is standing there, and he's not aggressive, but he's visibly annoyed. So this guy Tony comes over, right? Tony stands.
There's nothing wrong with being annoyed with a guy who weirdly talks shit about you.
Next to Shane, and the image that popped in my head is, you ever see A Christmas Story with the leg and everything?
Sure.
Do you remember the one bully that had the coonskin cap?
Yeah,
and
Scott Farkas.
Yeah, very.
I got a feeling that this guy's the fucking bully in this. This guy is clearly the bully in this situation. That's what I believe, anyways.
Good. And then the little guy with the little derby hat,
course,
and he goes, "Are you gonna cry, little baby? You're gonna cry." So I looked at Tony and I was like, "Wow, he reminds me of the little bully from."
Yeah.
But again, there was nobody was bullying me, but they were standing there, and Tony says like, "Oh, hey," he came over to say hi to Shane, and he goes, "Hey, Shane, what's going on?" And then Shane, like literally, and we're all standing within 5 feet of each other. This bar is not big, and we're all in a pretty tight space right at the bar. So Shane's like kind of motions to me. I'm right across from him, and he goes, "Yeah, this guy said a bunch of shit about me, and
on the internet,
and then he tweeted it, and I interrupted him again. I said, I never tweeted. I said the shit, but I didn't tweet."
Right.
And he's like, "Well,
yeah, now you're removed."
Said a bunch of shit about me. So I just said, I attempted just to put it to bed sort of immediately.
Right.
And I said, listen, this is how I remember it. You came on the show about 6
Try to put it to bed immediately. Why didn't you just apologize?
years plus ago. I thought that.
Who cares how long ago it is? You don't get to just do something to somebody and then forget it. And if they didn't take it as the joke or jest or... They're allowed to react. Like, if you do something to somebody else, how they react is up to them. It's not up to you. You can try to, like, schmooze stuff over, but I don't hear any sort of... What is the word? Remorse from this guy at all.
You were a member of the audience. You came in, you were actually the guest on the show. I didn't realize that. You were visibly annoyed that I didn't know that you were, the guest on the show.
He should be visibly annoyed. This guy's a guest on your show, and you don't take the time to learn who the guests are? This sounds about like, I don't remember who the chubby, who's the chubby guy? He's a night personality. I don't know. There's a chubby guy who is a night personality, and one of the trivia questions when he was sitting with another host was, can you name like one of the people who operate the cameras? The guy couldn't do it. And then you have the flip side, Conan O'Brien. He knows all of his staff. He knows every guest. You can even show somebody like Sean Evans. Like, do you think Sean Evans isn't going to know he has on his show? I mean, maybe this is a false equivalence. It could very well be. But I would assume that if you have a guest coming on your show who benefits you and quite possibly benefits the people who work for you, especially if it, like, helps your company out, and you're not going to take the time to learn your guest's name? Why is this guy being used as an example?
And then
it seems like seems like a fucking asshole. Again, it's a me thing. Like, he's all head, no body. I don't mean like physically. I'm just saying like he's all up in his head, and he forgets. Like, he forgets his place. Is what I'm saying.
And
he's not grounded.
We had this show, and again, I was drinking. Sure, fine, whatever. That's fine.
You drinking is not an excuse to not know who your guest is, or to treat that like you're again with the host thing. As soon as somebody shows up to your place, a good host, again, there's etiquette. If you don't want to learn etiquette, then you don't get the rewards of learning it. If you think you're above it, you should know who your guest is, man. That's fucking...
And then that night, we did a show at the New York Comedy Club, and somehow I ended up hosting it. I still don't know how that worked out. And I called you Sean Gillis, and you were a...
You don't know how you became the host of a show? Like, your free will benefits you until your free will fails you, I guess. And then you don't get his name right. Like, oh, yeah. So when a new face shows up and you see them, you don't, like, walk up and extend your hand and look them in the eye and it's like, hey, my name is, what's your name? Hey, it's nice to meet you. Hey, I apologize. I didn't mean to mess up your name. Oh, fuck me, dude.
Annoyed by that, too. So I'm like talking, and then I'm kind of like, and Joe's standing there kind of with his hand at his head.
Right.
And he goes like, and he's like, you know, it's like Michael apologizing for Fredo, you know. So I just decide
Yeah, it sounds to me like your friend has some semblance, or he has the ability to detect when something is going very poorly. Perhaps it's your actions. Maybe.
going to extricate myself from this area.
So right off the bat, Shane sees him and confronts him about something pretty small.
It's not small. He got his fucking name wrong, and he's the guest.
All that Brian said about Shane 6 years ago.
The time does not matter.
Which to some people is applaudable, as Shane was addressing it head-on as soon as...
It is applaudable. The other guy should have handled it immediately, especially if he's the aggressor. Especially because, if Shane not forgetting over 6 years doesn't tell you that you could have done something mean, and then you admit that you were drinking, you could have been an asshole.
he saw this guy.
Which is not a big deal. We're all assholes sometimes.
But at the same
But fucking okay.
time, it's a little bit petty, no?
It's a little bit petty. No, it's not. The guy has free fucking will. What he decides to do to piss off Shane and then not do anything to try to smooth it over and just try to defend himself and then even try to make light of it or make a joke of it. I don't think it's like petty at all.
I mean, who even is this guy? Like, if you're Shane Gillis...
Who gives a shit if he's a nobody? People being mean to you, like I've had days where the entire day where I've interacted with so many different people, brought smiles to so many different phases, and one motherfucker just being a total jackass could piss me off for the whole day. And then now I have to learn all the different ways to deal with these motherfuckers. I know some people, it's really easy and high and mighty to say it's not that big of a deal, but sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes it's just not that easy. Not for all of us.
Why even waste your breath on someone like him, who would jump at the opportunity?
It doesn't matter if he's not as big as Shane Gillis. That I think is petty. What it is he's a guy who overstepped his bounds, acted like kind of weird about it, didn't have the etiquette to handle the situation. I mean, I think it's petty to use him as an example.
To be in a beef with the Shane Gillis online.
With the Shane Gillis. He's still a human being, dude. Contrary to popular belief, some of these celebrities have feelings as well. All you got to do is watch something like when it comes to Brendan Fraser, and you can see that some of these events can drastically fuck with them. Like, had what happened to Brendan happened to me, it wouldn't have bothered me probably at all. Again, prior service. But, well, I shouldn't say prior service. Been to basic training, and I was so dumb I had to go twice. But yeah. Telling somebody who could have possibly been, I don't know how to explain it. Telling somebody they should just get over it because the person who did it to you isn't as big or as mighty as you. They're both men. And regardless of what their fame status is or how much money they have, disrespecting somebody or dishonoring somebody, they get to take that how they want.
Right? But according to him, after ending the convo, apparently Shane went to the bar and started talking shit about the guy to all his pals.
I don't know if talking shit about so this guy fucks with you, doesn't tell people what he says, he forgets your fucking name, he's completely like disrespectful on many different levels, and then his ego's not allowed to have some kind of response to this. If this guy came into my fucking place, I'd want him gone too. Because if he doesn't care about these things and they're just small to him, I wonder what the big things like that he thinks aren't a big deal are.
And so, as you'll hear shortly, when Brian McCarthy went to the bar, Shane escalated the argument and was shouting across the bar, demanding that McCarthy apologize for what he did all the way back in 2019.
All the way back in 2019. Shut the fuck up, dude. Oh, my dad never went to my baseball games, but that was 20 years ago. I guess I should just be over it. Oh, I didn't get hugged a bunch when I was a little kid, you know. I guess I should, now that I'm older, time heals all wounds. Sometimes not enough time has gone by. Sometimes that time that has gone by, like, you need to be 60 or 70, or maybe something happened. Maybe you found people who appreciate you. Like, the fact that Shane remembered it 6 years ago, perhaps he's thin-skinned, perhaps he could be vain, or perhaps what this guy did was really fucking rude. I know I've forgotten people's names before, and I profusely apologize. I mean, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but even when somebody has misremembered my name, like my name has more syllables. Like, some people call me my nickname, and I never told them to do that. And it irks me. Like, it doesn't irk me enough to engage them. I see it as a filter. If you can't say my name, which is 3 syllables, and even with my online name of Sanguicidus, some people just call me Sang. I get that. But when it comes to my real name, oh God, I'm rambling, bro. The point I'm trying to work up to is I tell people my name, and then sometimes they'll shorten it. And the people who shorten it and they pay no heed to the fact that that's not how I introduce myself, I don't make a big deal about it, but I don't forget. When it comes time for me to assist somebody else, be it monetarily, or give them a different path that can be a better direction for their career, or help them get to a place that is more worthy of them and their skills, I'm only going to see that within these individuals if they even learn to like say my full name. Again, that could be petty, or I could be right, and they don't care enough to follow what I told them my name was.
Which, if true, just gives me the impression that Shane's acting a little like Joe Rogan was with Andrew Callaghan.
So I go to the bar.
It's not even... Why? Okay. So Shane shows up to a place and the guy forgets his name. So the guy disrespects Shane. Clearly shows that he doesn't give a fuck, to some degree, about Shane. And then somebody doesn't give a fuck about Joe's rules. I guess you can see how they're similar. Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, and both fucking people are in a space that they didn't earn their patch. And your patch can be revoked if you don't meet the standards. These guys didn't meet the standards. Boo-hoo. Start your own club.
And I'm waiting for the bartender to pay attention. And Shane is at the bar, like 3 people down from me. So I'm waiting, and Shane is clearly telling these guys about me, or saying something about
this
me.
Fucking guy.
And then
He's clearly saying something about me, telling people about me.
and Shane looks over at me, and he does that De Niro thing with his fingers, and he goes, "You know what you did. You know what you did," with his finger. So I take my fingers out, and I do it back, and I went, "I'm in your head. I'm in your head. You know I'm in your head. I don't know why, but I'm in your head. I don't know why. I'm in your head.
You're in his head right now because you're in that space. And you'll probably be in his head for the rest of the evening. But now that you're no longer allowed to go there, he is forever in your head.
in your head." And then so the redhead guy, like, says to Shane, like, what is going on with like
Yeah,
you
what
and
is
this
happening?
guy? Like, what is
why
this?
is there like
And now this is where our evening could.
I like how this co-star isn't even. I don't even know if these are friends, bro. These are partners in enabling. Like, I got your back no matter what happens. There is no like, I would have been questioning this guy immediately, but I genuinely value the interaction and try to work towards a resolution. But again, I'm kind of a guy, so it's kind of like, I guess, I don't know if a guy makes sense or not, but I genuinely believe that there is some kind of instincts for men to come to a conflict resolution somehow or some way. But enabling this guy, not even questioning this guy about his story. I don't know. That's what I don't know. Maybe having a ton of friends is better than having a few, but yeah, I don't get it. It's weird to me. I'd be asking questions, wanting to see the whole thing.
This could have taken.
this was the fork in the road?
Exactly right. Because
Yeah, it was a fork in the road where you were supposed to apologize and man up and go talk to the guy or have a one-on-one with Shane, and then you didn't do it. Like, yeah, get the fuck out. You're disturbing the peace.
as Shane says, that guy said a bunch of shit about me on his podcast,
Which you admitted to Tony.
and he's being a pussy. And this is what
You are being a pussy. I don't think Shane has got thin skin. I think he's got really good guts.
Shane, you're going to hear this. Maybe this is what you said. So whatever. He goes, and he's being a pussy, and he
You can remember what he said, but you can't remember all the shit that you did to fucking get yourself in this situation. Interesting.
won't apologize.
Also, it was just a thing that happened at a bar. I mean, what's the big deal? There's a ton of other bars. I'm trying to fucking make fun of the timing thing. Well, if timing is no big deal, then the place where you choose to drink is no big deal. Nothing's a big deal. I mean, rules, who needs them? Etiquette, who needs that? Earning your way, earning your patch, nah, just give me the patch. Just let me put it on.
Oof. So he didn't call me a pussy, but he called me a pussy to a
You are a pussy. I think you're a pussy.
certain extent.
You're being a pussy.
I'm being a pussy.
He is being a pussy. Thanks, co-host.
Blame.
He didn't say this pussy.
Yeah, like legitimately, you could have typed in, oh my god, this shit. This world has a library that you can have in your pocket. Not only that, you have Grok, you got ChatGPT, you have all these utilities that motherfuckers like myself didn't have when we were a bit younger. We had to just ask our parents, and you have no idea if that information is going to be good or not. It just depends on their parents. But you have all these tools, and you just don't use them. Like, you didn't ask Grok, or you didn't ask the internet, like, yo, I got an issue with this guy. I may have offended him. How do I handle this situation? Like, he could have done this. He could have done this. I can't think of any profession that like requires. I just can't think of any. Like, everywhere you go, there's teachers, and if you can't find the teachers, you can just look in your fucking pocket. It's right there. I think the issue is this guy can't admit fault. It's just crazy to me. You have the library in your fucking pocket. This should be like a common technique is, I don't know how to handle this situation. I wasn't trained properly on this. I'll see what the internet has to say, and maybe it'll help me. Maybe the internet knows better than I do. I'm not saying that's always the case, but it might help. Or maybe you could try it alone. And then if that fails, try to make peace afterwards. It's just crazy. This guy just absolutely refuses to shoulder any of the burden of his own fucking actions. That's how it appears to me.
So there is a little bit of a semantics there.
Yeah.
And again, by the way, I'm not even worked up about any of this. I'm just
Who gives a fuck if you're not worked up? Nobody cares if you're not worked up. Shane is clearly worked up.
kind of like, dude, whatever, man.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Just let me get away with mistreating you. God, it's not a big deal, man. I don't think it's a big deal. God created me, I created God in my image. So everybody should bow before me because I am the deity. I am the one above all. If I don't think a situation is that big of a deal, then I think everybody should just adopt my teachings and they should probably write a book about me.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
It was 6 years ago. Shut the fuck up.
So I say to him, I said, listen, if I was a pussy, I would apologize to you. But
No. The individual who says that they're sorry first is generally the stronger one. If you're looking for conflict resolution, that doesn't make you a pussy. Sometimes doubling down makes you the pussy. I'm not saying that this is the case in every single situation, but yeah, I don't think apologizing to him, hey, I'm sorry for what I said. It's clearly affected you. Could you let me know, like, what it is that I said that affected you so much? Ah, shit, man, I didn't mean to say that stuff, dude. Maybe maybe he's going through something. I'm not saying, again, that that's always the case, but apologizing doesn't always make you the pussy. It doesn't always make you the strongest one either, I guess. I mean, to be fair, I have to be in this position, but apologizing, okay, let's see what he has to say.
I'm not apologizing to you.
Right.
What I will say to you is, I will say a non-apology. I'm sorry that I am making you so upset. And that's as good as it's going to get. I said, that's it. I'm sorry that...
Yeah, and then you got kicked out. No big deal on either side. Bye.
Some reason I'm making you so upset. And he's looking at me, and I said, and then the drink came back, and...
For some reason, I'm making you so upset. But you shit-talked him 6 years ago and he didn't forget. How is this hard to figure out? What you said could have possibly affected him. I'm almost curious as what this guy had to say. Clearly, it was something that was not very kind.
And I said, bartender, I said, thank you. And I just walked away. And I go back to the girl.
So yeah, just a pretty heated argument coming right out of the Austin comedy.
It's not really like that heated. It doesn't sound like it's that heated an argument. This guy talked shit. Shane remembered it. He showed up at a place that Shane frequents, that Shane has earned his stripes, earned his patch. He's liked there. He has more power than this individual in that space. And if the greater powers that be within that space like Shane more than they like this guy, and then he gives him a non-apology and then doesn't work things out with him, yeah, get the fuck out. It's not a big deal that he played his cards wrong, and then he wanted to stand up for what he believed in, and now he's got to deal with the consequences.
Mothership. And of course, I am torn on whether this guy's story is true or not, because honestly, he could just be using Shane's name for clout.
Then why would you use him as an example of the Austin comedy scene is quietly collapsing? Okay.
But if this were true, I think it's a pretty good example.
If this were true, it clearly makes them look like the bad guys.
Of the environment that some of the biggest names have cultivated at the mothership over the years.
This environment sounds like there's checks and balances, and there's a specific way of doing things that has been arbitrated by Joe himself, who's a buff guy who, he takes care of his body, and he trains in martial arts, and he's got a lot of friends who are military. Join the fucking military if you want to learn more.
Like,
Go to martial arts class if you want to learn more. Train in MMA if you want to learn more. Go to a boxing class if you want to learn more. Take some jiu-jitsu if you want to learn more. Lift some weights if you want to learn more.
Love the drama and the gossip, despite saying that they don't read the comments and that they're all a happy brotherhood. But don't get me wrong, I am not on this guy's side whatsoever.
Then why'd you use him as an example? What?
But do let me know what you guys think of that little spat and the current trajectory of the Austin comedy scene.
The current trajectory of the Austin comedy scene is that they are, they're, from what I grasp, are extremely explosive. And the comedy that they have goes directly against what the status quo was for many years. And they're still managing to thrive. There's you not liking the Austin comedy scene, and then there's the truth of the Austin comedy scene. And granted, I guess I don't have a bunch of shit to back up what I'm saying. But I think the average Walmart American, even at a glance, can tell you that it's not collapsing.
And with that being said, thanks so much for watching.
Yeah, I don't know, like, yeah. That's my take on that video. I had never done this before, but yeah, that's my take on the video. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.